Hi everybody, this is Patricia Preston. Welcome to our day of crafting. I am glad to be participating today, and I hope you guys stick around for all of the wonderful presentations that we have in store for you today from our mini catalog that runs January through June of 2022 and our exciting celebration catalog where you get to earn free things when you purchase $50. And you get to pick a free stamp set or some beautiful paper, all this kinds of things. So celebration is always a great time to pick up some things that you are in need of or something new that you want to try. So today I am going to be demonstrating a very cool set in this catalog, and it is the Flowering Tulip Set. And it can be found on page 14 and 15 in this mini catalog. And you can see it's a whole suite of products, but we're going to be focusing on the Flowering Tulips stamp set and matching die set. Tulips is one of my favorite flowers, so I was excited to be able to play around with this, and it can be used for lots of different occasions. And I will admit that this die set looks a little intimidating, a little tedious, and thought, gosh, do I really want to get this die set? But after I got it and I started playing with it, you will see how easy it is once you know how the pieces and parts go together, how quick and easy it is to make beautiful tulips, whether you're doing something three-dimensional or the stamp set that comes with it that cuts out regular tulips as well. So with that, some beautiful paper, I must say the colors in this suite are gorgeous. So this is called the Flowering Fields paper. Look at these colors. We've got the whole rainbow gamut here of this paper and colors and just so many things that you can do with this paper. And then on the reverse side, we've got beautiful things that, your imagination can run wild. I see clouds, I see all kinds of things, beautiful purples, blues and greens, like I said, all different colors in this suite. So this suite is amazing, color-wise, artistic-wise. So a couple other things that I have used on the cards I'm about to show you are the brushed brass butterflies. These are super cute. They are really tiny, if you can see those in the camera. Really, really tiny, but they are brass. I believe they are metal, or at least they feel like it anyway, and they have a nice shine to them. It's just a little bit of bling for your cards and your projects. And then just a few other pieces that I used while working with this set. Of course, I know you guys have seen it. This new Horizons suite, which is on page 42 and 43, the new Horizons 6x6 designer series paper. It doesn't get more beautiful than that. So if you skipped this and thought, you need to get it because your imagination can run wild, and I will tell you that it will give you a really big shortcut when you go to make your tulips. So let's get started. First, do I want to show you what I made? Okay, I'll show you what I made first. All right, so I made a very simple 3x3 note card. Let me show you the stamp set and the dies here. So here are the dies. I've got them separated for a reason. It's a big set, 17 pieces in this die set. It coordinates with the photopolymer stamp set, Flowering Tulips. Lots of great sentiments in here. For Mother's Day, a thank you, birthday, love you, thinking of you. Nice sentiments. Love the font. I love this brushed, what I call a brushed element of the leaves and the tulips here that you can stamp out. So lots of great stamps in this set. So a couple of these coordinate with the stamped images. And then as you can see, these pieces here in the die set, you might be thinking, well, this doesn't coordinate with the stamp set. That's because these are the pieces we're going to use to make the 3D tulips. And then, of course, you've got your leaves and a nice little cutout for some dimension on some paper. All right, so first up, I'm going to show you this little 3x3 using the the stamp set here. It's two-step stamping. So you lay down one color, then you lay down another color on top of it. You don't have to perfectly match it. That's what gives it great dimension. That's what gives you a little bit of wiggle room and freedom to create a flower that's just beautiful. So again, the colors in this scheme, you can do any kind of colors. If you've looked at tulip fields or any types of pictures of tulips, you'll know that they run the gamut from white to purples to pinks and yellows and reds, golds, all sorts of colors. So imagination can run wild on this stamp set. This was super easy to do, and we'll get to the stamping demonstration in just a second and show you how these stamps work. So for the more intriguing part of this is using the die set and using the cutout of the tulips to make a 3D tulip. So I made two projects with this, two samples, and I'm not going to go through the samples today and show you how to put them together. What we're going to do is we're going to put the tulips together and we're going to do the stamping so that you know how to use the set when you get it, and then let your imagination run wild on how you want to put it together. And I have some tips for you on how to do that. So here's my card using the 3D dies. And as you can see a little bit of a dimension here. I added dimensionals, but when we get to building these, you don't have to work really hard. And you can see how I got this paper, this beautiful paper, and the coloration. I will give you a cheat for that as well. This was using some vellum in the catalog as well. I believe it's on page 33. Nice background for this. Then I made another little 3D, which I think is really cute. So this is a diaper fold. We all probably have done the diaper fold for a chocolate or some type of little gift to give away. And I thought, wow, what a perfect little pouch to hold a note card that I just simply stamped on, tucked it in here as a thank you, and it was the perfect way to kind of build these tulips and put them inside so it looks like a little vase or a bouquet of flowers, tulips, and then you can just tuck your note card inside. So those are the three projects that I'm sharing with you today using this set. Again, lots of different techniques, lots of different ideas that you can use for this set. So let's do some stamping. So I'm going to use Poppy Parade, Bumblebee, and Granny Apple Green. Let me adjust my camera just a little bit for you guys. And I have my stamps set up over here. And I have cut some 3x6 cards scored at 3 inches. These make great little note cards, just a little note card. And we're going to do some stamping. All right, so you notice on the stamp set, we have 2 bigger flowers. They go in a pair. We have 2 other medium-sized flowers. They go in a pair. And then we've got something that looks like it forms a bud, and they work together. Of course, you've got your leaves and your stem, and you've got little, I forget what those things are called in the middle, but like the little seeds, or you know what I mean, in the middle there that you can use as well. So I took, let's work with the 2 bigger stamps. So I'm going to use Poppy Parade, and Bumblebee as my color scheme to recreate this card. And the first image, which is, you can see the difference here. One has thicker lines in places, and one has thinner lines, which is more of an outline. So I'm going to use the yellow Bumblebee for the outline, and I'm going to use Poppy Parade for the thicker elements of that tulip. And I really don't think that it matters which one you do first. You can certainly experiment to see which one works better for you. I started with the inside and worked my way out. So just ink up the more of an outline stamp. And then ink up the other one in Poppy Parade. And kind of eyeball, you can kind of eyeball where this is going to fit in. You can see the outline here, and the outline has sort of the same shape. But again, the beauty of the stamp set is you don't have to be perfect. So we're just going to lay this down. And there we have it. And we have that variegated look, which I love when you get the variegated tulips. And I like it because you don't have to be so precise with it. Now, we can take that little bit of whatever it's called in the middle. If someone knows, shout it out for me. I'm just going to borrow a stamp set here. And maybe we will add a little bit of a darker color. And there may be some early espresso for the center. Almost looks like a poppy flower of some sort that's opened up. So tulips, poppies, whatever you see will work. And then, of course, we have the stems and the leaves, and you can choose how you want to do those as well. I'm going to use, there is this stem here. I'm going to come off the paper a little bit. And then I'm going to bring in, there are 2 leaf sizes, so I'm going to use the smaller leaf. This is really very easy, straightforward stamping that anyone can do, but it makes it look like you put a lot of work and you really didn't. So I love those types of stamp sets. So let's add another stem down the bottom, and let's come in with the bud stamp. Lay that up there so I don't lose it. So there are 2 smaller pieces. Let me move this out of the way so I don't make a mess. And we are talking about these 2 here. So this one and this one. Same thing. I'm going to start with the middle. So that's maybe the part of the flower that hasn't quite opened up yet. And then the bigger piece around it. And again, look how awesome that is. I love it. And then you just add a simple sentiment, or you can leave it blank, and you've got a really easy peasy note card. So if you could do these in mass, and you can knock these out in no time. Let's try another piece with the last stamp, 2-step stamp here. That would be the one that looks like this. And the one that looks like a heart. So you could get really creative with Valentine's Day coming up. I know it's short notice, but you could use that as a heart and do all sorts of things. I also see this as a leaf. If you turn it up this way, to me, it looks like a leaf. So you could be really creative on combining it with another stamp set and have a really pretty leaf going on there. But today we're going to use it as a tulip. So I think I'm going to do the bumblebee with the heart-shaped. And yeah, I think it goes this way. Experiment with colors, experiment with which way it's turned, maybe stamp off and stamp on for maybe a lighter color. I'm gonna bring this down a little bit. Ooh, that's pretty too. You can see that. Let's do one in reverse and see what we get. So let's go in with red, the Poppy Parade in the middle for that one. See, doesn't that look like a heart? That looks like a heart to me. You could do, that would be so cute. And then we're just going to go over it with the yellow, the bumblebee. Now, I like the yellow inside of the red better, personally, but to each his own. And you could maybe stamp off a little bit lighter on that. But I actually really like this with hearts. So let's just do this real quick. Pretty Valentine's Day card. Talk about cute background. What do you think? Do a sentiment. One of the sentiments in that is love you so much. You can either stamp that on just the way it is, or maybe you want to pop it up, punch it out, or use one of your die cuts to pop that out and then pop it on with some dimensionals. But let's see what it looks like. Put some ink away here so I don't get messy. Let's see what it looks like. Of course, we wouldn't have the tulips on the other side. Let's just pretend it's like this. That's a cute card. I mean, that is just like, hey, a love note for somebody. Maybe tuck it in their lunch pail, or stick it in a pocket, or whatever. Just a little love note. I love that. I love this little stamp. It looks like a heart. So that's just another idea. Things that I see when I'm using stamps. Okay, so the die cuts coordinate with the stamped images as well. So you can see these outline die cuts will cut out, say, the bud. If you wanted to cut out the bud portion, it fits over that. So you'd be able to cut that out, pop it up on some dimensionals. This one, this bigger one is going to cut out your bigger flower. So you need to line it up on this notch here, and the notch here. So that's really easy to line up. You'll be able to cut that out. And lastly, the flower we did over here, you can cut out as well. So very easy to line up and to get a full one-piece image. But your dimension comes in with using the stamp set and 2 different colors. So get creative with your colors, and you can have something that's very, very wow. I'm sure that once you cut these out, you could also stack them So lots of different options, but very easy stamping and very easy die cutting on those pieces. All right, so that's that for some stamping. Now what we're gonna do is, actually one more thing. So when I was stamping, there are die cuts for the leaves as well. So you can stamp those and then cut out the stem, each stem and the leaves. And yes, it is a little bit of a lot of die cutting, but it makes for a wow card. And you can see on this example, I die cut out the leaves and the different stems. I just stamped this on Just Jade paper and used my die cuts to cut that out. Now, when I first stamped, I think I still have my oopsie paper. Yeah. When I first stamped using this stem, I laid it on my block. And me being me, put it on, laid it down on my block, and straightened it up. So I thought, okay, I want a straight stem. So I stamped it, and you can see they're pretty straight. However, when I went to die cut it, I realized they don't line up because the die cut is actually curved. So the tip on making sure your die cut matches your stamped image, you want to take your photopolymer stamp, turn it upside down, let it relax on your paper. Now you can see that it is curved, and then take your block to your stamps, to your stamp, instead of laying the stamp on the block. That way you will get an image that matches the die. You see how that fits in there perfectly. Just a tip. So you guys benefited from my oopsie. I wanted to pass that tip along, because if you were making these in mass and you stamped out a whole bunch of stems, went to die cut it, you would be disappointed that they didn't match. Okay, so let's move on. With the more intimidating pieces of this set. These dies. All right. So to organize your dies, this is how I would recommend organizing. You have 3 bigger pieces. You have 3 pieces that look like a bud, and then you have a piece that looks like a V. You need 2, these pieces all go together. The V actually goes with this one and this one. You don't need the V for this pair. So when you cut it, what's nice, you can lay all of these down on a piece of paper, run through the V-shaped die one more time. You've got 3 flowers in, well, 2 swipes of a die cut. So how did I get this beautiful variegated colors? Did I use blending brushes or sponges, or how did I do that? No, I didn't. Because you might be doing a lot of flowers on one card and maybe making multiple cards like I do, I try to be very efficient in how I make my cards. So this is where that new Horizons paper comes in. Yeah, 6x6 New Horizons. Let me just show you this paper, because your imagination can run wild. I'm surprised this hasn't been sold out, although I'm sure it won't take long. This is absolutely gorgeous paper. By itself, you can do so many different things with it. I mean, they look like a scene all by itself without doing anything. Lots of different colors. I mean, that's beautiful watercoloring without watercoloring. I see a mountain scene, a lake. You could put, I mean, you could just cut these out, which I've seen. Cut these out and put it on a card front. Add a sentiment and you're done. Gorgeous. Gorgeous paper. So, that looks familiar, right? That looks a little bit like my tulips here. This is your shortcut. Of course, the opposite side has another array of colors. So lots of different options for making tulips, whatever color you want to do. Now, running this through the die cut machine is a piece of cake, because you don't have to stamp and then line up the die cut over a stamp. There is none of that. This is one sheet of 6x6. I think I got 7 flowers, 6 or 7 flowers out of one die cut. With this paper, I can use both sides if I want. There's enough coordinating colors to be able to do that. So let's bring in what I cut and match these up. So you can see here, make sure I'm in frame. You can see this matches with this. Oops. Here, I've got my V. And I've got my petal or bud or whatever you want to call it. And then I've got this one. And they all look kind of odd, right? You're like, how am I going to make a flower out of that? Don't be intimidated. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. And it will be so easy and so less intimidating to use. Okay, so we've matched those up. Like I said, run these through your die cut, all of them. Then go back, add one more V, and you've got 3 flowers. All right, so let's put them together. You're gonna need, you can use Stampin' Seal. You can use multi-purpose liquid glue. I found it a little bit easier to use my glue dots and my mini dimensionals. If you want to add just a wee bit of dimension. You don't want to add too much because you don't want a whole lot of bulk. And the way these fold together, I think adds a little bit of dimension without a lot of dimensionals, if that makes sense. Okay, so let's start with the first one. You've got a piece, and they're barely scored. I don't know if you can see that here. Barely scored. Let me see. Yeah, I can't see from the other side either. Super easy. You're going to take these 2 little end flaps, and you're going to fold them in like this. That's it. You're going to take your bud, the center, and then your V slips down inside like that. And you can finagle it however you wish. If you want that blue to pop out a little bit, or you don't want it to pop out. So for this flower, you can use, I'm going to set this down. You can, like I said, you can use Stampin' Seal. You can use multi-purpose liquid glue. I'm going to use the glue the V and the bud together. So I'm just going to add a little glue dot. And I'm putting these 2 together first. And then I'm going to apply another glue dot on the back. That way when I fold this up, I can kind of maneuver and see where I want this to go. And then just kind of pinch that together. Now, what I did on mine, now I have these two flaps open. Took a mini dimensional and I applied it on this bigger petal. I didn't squeeze it tight or fold it over like tight on the burnished line. Just gently. And you'll see that you've got some gap there. So it gives more dimension than just even that little dimensional. And then I'm just going to add another glue dot here on the bottom. And fold that up. So you really don't need dimensionals on a whole lot because it just does it on its own. And using that New Horizon paper, it just adds even more dimension. So you could get really creative with the colors that you chose. Okay, second one. I think I lost a piece. Here we go. So we've got one that looks like a heart and a swirl and something else, and you're not sure how's that fit together. Easy. Look at that. That's it. You just fold it in half. The V goes inside with a heart shape, just like the other. Tuck that last petal or bud behind it. And there you have it. So again, I like to put these two pieces together. First. And again, I love this because I don't have to be so precise. I'm going to tuck that inside. And I don't have a whole lot of room for a big glue dot or a big dimensional, maybe on this side. I don't even need glue over here. I'm just going to add my glue dot to the back. Line it up on this one, the back side here. Leaving room so that I can fold it over. And I like that a little bit popped up, so maybe we'll add another dimensional here. I want this to be on the more on the outside edge and loosely folded over. There's enough give here to go to the edge, to cover the edge, but leave it kind of open. See that? So very easy to put together. 2 swipes through the Big Shot, a little bit of dimensionals, a couple glue dots. You got some great flowers. Okay, and lastly, you've got this piece. Turn it over. Again, this piece kind of threw me because to me it looks like it should go like this, but you'll realize when you fold these over that it's really just like this. So the smaller piece goes on the left side, bigger piece folds in on the right. And you can see that looks like the bud of a tulip. And then this one tucks down inside. It can pop up a little bit. You can see that. So I'm just going to add one little glue dot. to pop that up just a little bit more. And then I'm not going to use any dimensionals on this one. And I don't think it really matters if you tuck the small over the large. But I'm going to go with this. So another little glue dot here. I might roll this one in half. That'll give a little dimension without giving it a lot of dimension. And just tap it. And there you have it. That is how you get these beautiful three-dimensional flowers out of this very intimidating die set. So hopefully it is not very intimidating at all now, and you will go on to make beautiful flowers. You can make these again out of any type of DSP. You can make your own. You can make them out of vellum. I like this because it was easy. It took a lot of work out of stamping or even creating your own background paper or creating your own watercolored paper. This took all the hard work and time out of that. For this card, I made the flowers, or for this project, I made the flowers out of cardstock. So it does add a little bit more bulk, but because this was 3D anyway, I was okay with that. So just be cognizant of that if you are making a card. The DSP is a little bit thinner. But one thing to note, I don't know if you can see this on camera, using cardstock gives a little bit of an impression when it goes through the die cut machine. And I think it's just because cardstock is a little thicker. So you can see that little bit of detail here. You could certainly sponge the edges to add a little bit of variegation if you like. But I like this plain. And this is using the Flowering Fields paper. And I just simply made a little note to tuck inside. Here's those little brushed brass butterflies that just add a little tiny bit of bling. I mean, when you see tulips, you're probably seeing butterflies too. A couple other things. I used the circle dies. Is that what they're called? They're in the annual catalog, to die cut this sentiment. This sentiment was die cut with Stitched So Sweetly. I love this set. So this is the second to smallest size. And that is pretty much, oh, one more tip, because I love doing this. You'll see that I have some ribbon on this card. Make sure I don't lose these die pieces. And you're thinking, I didn't see that kind of ribbon in the catalog. Where did that ribbon come from? I made my own color ribbon to coordinate. Super easy. This is Just Jade and Light Rich Razzleberry blends, using our Whisper White crinkled seam binding ribbon. And I colored it using the blends. And you don't even have to be precise on this either. You don't have to color both sides. You can add in a little bit of the darker color. This is Shaded Spruce, but And then the rich razzleberry. And it's okay to leave some white. To me, it looks fancy. And you don't have to worry about, do I have the right color, ribbon? You make your own. So then you would just tie your bow to match your variegated colors in the Horizon DSP to coordinate with your card. So I hope that these tips are helpful to you and you get some use out of the Flowering Tulips die set and the stamp set. Lots of different ways to use them, and I hope you share with us here. Make sure that when you make your card, make your card, please post pictures. I love when people share and give ideas. So these are my ideas for you today. Where's my other one? And of course, the impromptu hearts. Love you so much. All right, if you have any questions, please pop it in the comments. I'm happy to answer. I hope you enjoy the rest of your crafting day today, and thanks for joining. Talk to you soon. Bye.